See.
You and Steph Curry are two of the longest active tenured duo in the NBA. What would it mean to get another playoff run with Steph, especially with all the challenges this season?
It would mean a lot. Number one, we don't know how many we have left. How many opportunities do we have to do this again? And so each one you have to cherish. But anytime I'm able to take the court with Steph Curry and compete at a high level, it's been my honor my entire career, and it's one that I don't take for granted. Not everyone get to play with all-time greats, the likes of Steph, especially you then add in the demeanor that he has, what he brings to the table, who he shows up as every day. It's a really, really special thing. And so still playing at an extremely high level, and we want to make sure that we can capitalize on that and put ourselves in the best position we can to win with the circumstances that we've been dealt.
You touched on this. Any coach. I mean, Steve's contract does expire after this season is over. Has the thought that this could maybe be the last run with Kerr at the helm of the Dubs crossed your mind yet?
No, because I know Steph Curry still wants to continue to play. I want to continue to play. But more importantly, I know Steph doesn't want another coach. I would say to myself, but I don't mean that as much as Steph does. When you've been through what we've gone through, the success that we've had, what's Steph going into year 18? Year 18, you're like, oh, we're going to get a new coach now. No one wants that, And so what Steve has brought to this organization, his winning ways that he brought to this organization, the success, we won 4 championships under Coach Kerr. There's, 26 franchises that doesn't have 4 championships? And when you have someone that has had the success that Steve Kerr has had, you're talking a Hall of Fame. If he stops today, he's a Hall of Fame coach. And he came here to an organization that had not won a championship in 40 years, since 1975. And he delivered that in year 1, and then in year 3, and then in year 4. That's unheard of. And so you don't, I think oftentimes in this league, everybody's always looking at the other side thinking it's greener. And then when they get on the other side and they realize all the grass is brown and it's dead and there's no sprinkler system and the sun doesn't rise on that side, it only sets on that side, then everybody want to look back like, man. And now you start this cycle of 4 coaches in 4 years. You start this cycle of having 6 coaches over 8 years. The Warriors have been through that cycle, and no one's trying to go through that again. So as long as we have a Steve Kerr wanting to coach this team, you're not going to go and find a better coach. So
how do you feel about a minute
on the floor?
You talked on this show last year about the importance of making all defense 10 times in your career, something only legends of the game have done before. Do you remember that group of 5 players to make all defense at least 10 times?
Absolutely. You're talking Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Scottie Pippen, and Kevin Garnett.
Come on.
These are all first ballot Hall of Famers. These are all, you're talking top 3 players at their positions. These are all-time greats. For my name to possibly sit next to theirs, to possibly be mentioned in the likes of those guys, what an honor. Coming into the NBA, the question was, what position would he guard? To end my career on a list like that with those 5 guys would be one of the biggest honors of my life. And so I've put the work in. I've worked hard at it. I think I've put a great display of defense on again this year. And I hope the voters feel that I'm worthy of an all-defensive team selection, because I think, you watch the film, I think I definitely do that at a very high level still to this day.
Do you think there's any single player left that makes a bigger defensive impact than yourself?
It's hard to say Victor Wembanyama doesn't. Just the way, I think one thing that I do defensively that, you'll never be able to quantify is I'm a positional defender, so I'm not giving you your spots that you want to get to. I like to deter shots. I'm not Victor Wembanyama's height, right? So I'm not going to block every shot. Right. So I want to get myself into a spot to where you can't even get to the shot. And I think that type of anticipation is sometimes tough to quantify. Well, when you look at a Victor Wembanyama, he is one that does that same thing, but in a different way. Because all of a sudden, a guy gets to the hole, and whereas you usually just take that shot, you see a lot of times guys see him in the area, they just dribble the ball out, right? Mm-hmm. And so to sit and say today that my defense is more impactful than Victor Wembanyama's, I think that would be a lie, and I've never been one to not be honest. So I wouldn't put myself above him, but I wouldn't put myself below anyone else.
Is there anybody
below anyone else?
Is there anybody on the offensive side of the ball that's more dangerous than Steph?
No, I don't think there's anyone on the offensive side of the ball that's more dangerous than Steph. We see Steph get guarded differently than anyone in the NBA. You know, you're talking people grabbing him, holding him, sending 2 or 3 people at him. No one draws that type of attention in the NBA when they don't have the ball. People are terrified of him, and he doesn't have the ball, and he can't score. He does not have the basketball in his hand, and people are terrified. There's no one else in NBA history that they run through the paint and the whole defense shift, and this guy doesn't have the ball. And so I don't think we'll ever, in the history of basketball, see anyone guarded like Steph Curry's guarded. That's the respect level that he's gained from opposing coaches, from opposing players. And so to say that there's someone that's a tougher guard in the NBA, I'm going to have a hard time agreeing with that one.
Yeah, no, facts.